Hello and welcome. It's Doug Diamond. You are here for another Diamond Report Live. Welcome. Glad you made it. It's 10:06 p.m. on Sunday night, October 22nd, 2023. And yeah, we've got some news items to take a look at. Welcome to everybody who's joined. We've got Rumble off and rolling, as well as my two Facebook pages and YouTube. So anyways, welcome if you guys have never been here before, if you're new to the broadcast. So what we're going to do is we're going to try and jam as much alternative news, meaning truth and real news, into this broadcast as much as possible. And we'll touch on a number of different subject items, anything from politics to religion and all that stuff you're not supposed to talk about. We're going to touch on all of that stuff tonight, at least as much as possible. We'll probably go for at least a couple hours, I'm thinking. So we'll see how it goes. Hope you guys have had a good weekend, and yeah, we're off and rolling here. So first article I've got pulled up, it's really just the homepage of HalTurnerRadioshow.com. I usually start with this site because he's got really good breaking news on there. And there's an article yesterday, IDF Chief to Staff of Commanders, we will enter the Gaza Strip. Of course, they've sort of delayed, and people are wondering if it's even going to happen. And I would love to say it won't happen, but I have no idea. It looks to me like it probably will, and maybe this week. Of course, that's what we thought last week too, so it's hard to say. Hal's got written here, Lieutenant General Halevi told commanders in the Israeli Defense Force, we will begin an operational and professional mission to destroy Hamas operatives, Hamas infrastructure, and we will also keep in our minds the images, scenes, and the fall. Meaning when they attacked back on October 7th. So anyway, we'll see what happens. Yeah, it looks like they're headed that way. That looks like the direction it's going. Israel leaflets in Gaza. This is the quote. This is what the leaflets say. Leave your own house or be designated as a terrorist when we bomb your house. So give up your house or you're a terrorist. I'm sure they think they're a terrorist no matter what anyways. And interesting that they're having perhaps a last meal. The crew of the U.S. aircraft carrier gets steak and lobster for dinner last night. I wonder why. Rumor has it that the crew of the aircraft carrier USS Gerald Ford was treated to a steak and lobster dinner. Last meal, maybe, ? I don't know. Let's hope not. And then along those lines, another person, this person in the U.S., though, Detroit Synagogue president found stabbed to death. Has the Middle East fight between the Muslims and the Jews come to America? Samantha Woll, a Jewish community leader who helped lead top Detroit synagogue, has been found stabbed to death outside of her home. Wow. I don't think that is an accident. What do you guys think? So, and then there's more here. Feel free to take a look at this. There's of course, this one, Israeli lawmaker on TV about Palestinians in Gaza, annihilate them and kill everything that moves, he says. Showing mercy, right? Showing mercy to the people that he doesn't like. Or maybe not so much. Anyway, yeah, let's keep moving here. But that's really just some of the mini articles here on Hal's website on the homepage. So again, look at that if you guys want to. And next article I have pulled up is technocracy.news. And this is another really good website all about technocracy. And of course, we are being ruled by the technocrats, so it's important to take a look at this. The Westminster Declaration, Censorship Industrial Complex, is creating a crisis of humanity itself. In March 1783, George Washington gave an address. If the freedom of speech is taken away, then dumb and silent we may be led like sheep to the slaughter. This only tells that there are always those who want to muzzle everyone else. Today, the most prominent anti-free speech cabal is led by technocrats, and demonstrably so. These are the Pied Pipers, nay, the sirens of Crete, who lured sailors to their death with irresistible music. In Greek mythology, the music of the sirens of Crete crowded out all other melodies, and they could only be killed by more beautiful music. Today, technocrats are wrapped in a simulacrum while spreading their pipe dreams that surely will result in the death of civilization. The only remedy is free speech. Across the globe, government actors, social media companies, universities, and NGOs are increasingly working to monitor citizens and rob them of their voices. These large-scale coordinated efforts are sometimes referred to as the censorship industrial complex, which is what we are in the middle of. We are deep in the throes of at this very moment. I know I've been censored a lot. I'm sure you guys probably have been as well. The big tech platforms are the worst, but there's some good ones out there who aren't really doing any censoring, so praises to them. There needs to be more of that, but the big tech ones that get all the advertising revenue, they're all about censorship for the most part. And need to know.news, Hamas-Israel conflict propaganda and fake news is being used to lie the U.S. into war. The new war between Hamas and Israel began October 7th when Hamas initiated Operation Al-Aqsa Flood, a multi-pronged surprise attack that included a barrage of rocket launches and infiltration into Israel by land, sea, and air. Terror attacks give intelligence agencies an opportunity to carry out their long-planned agenda under the guise of retaliation, all while pretending to be the victim. We have reported on a number of instances of propaganda and fake news being used to manipulate the U.S. into backing Israel in a war against Hamas that is spreading tension to other neighboring countries. That is indeed what's going on. So I like these sites that are not taking sides. They're not pro-Palestine and Gaza, and they're not pro-Israel. There's less and less of those, it seems like. I don't know what you guys have found in your research, but there's definitely some good ones out there. Man sentenced to 7 months in prison for posting a meme disparaging Hillary Clinton. And I've mentioned this before, quite a few months back, actually. New York, meme maker Douglas Mackey was sentenced to 7 months in prison on criminal charges following a conviction for conspiracy against rights, i.e. election interference, over memes he created during the 2016 presidential election that disparaged Hillary Clinton. He was found guilty of the federal charge after making memes that jokingly encouraged Hillary supporters to cast their votes via text message, despite no evidence to support the notion that anyone who saw the meme was deceived by it. Mackey's conviction violates the First Amendment and sets a bad precedent, but they don't care. Musk responded to the news by pointing out that the memes in question had no material impact on the election, and then asked what prison sentences were given out to those who suppressed the Hunter Biden laptop information. That did have a material impact on the election, yes. But Trump lost and Biden got in, and that's all they care about. So therefore, we do not investigate anything that we like. That's the way it works. Anyway, yes, no one was hurt in the case of Douglas Mackey here, and it doesn't matter, though. He still went against the cabal. He still went against the globalists and Hillary Clinton in particular. Therefore, he goes to prison. Just like Owen Schroyer will be going to prison in 2 days for his free speech, too. Doesn't matter, though. If you don't have the right ideology, you get the book thrown at you and you get thrown into the slammer. Major U.S. meat producer to open World Economic Forum linked insect plant. That sounds yummy, huh? U.S. company Tyson Foods bought a stake in the Netherlands-based insect protein company Protix BV that is linked to the WEF, World Economic Forum. The new plant will produce bug-based meal and oil typically used in fish feed and dog food, and will in the long run also produce products that are, quote, good for people, end quote. Protix, I like how they have the word ticks in there. Ticks are bugs, aren't they? Protix already supplies insect-based protein for pet food makers Nestle S.A. and Mars Inc. So they have insect protein candy bars? I didn't know about that. The plant's expected to be fully operational by 2025. The WEF has been calling for a reset in food globally. The WEF, corporate elites, unelected bureaucrats, and the mainstream media are pushing insect protein to replace meat in human diets. Globalist leaders around the world have agreed to ban the public from obtaining meat, dairy, and private vehicles by 2030. Agenda 2030. That's part of what it's about. So there you go. Which you guys know that's what's going on, but it's always interesting to have that info in writing, and that seems to be where it's headed as far as the bug meal goes, the bug proteins stuff. You will eat the bugs, right? So they think. Anger erupts across Middle East over Gaza hospital blast as Biden arrives in Israel. Protests erupted across the Middle East following the deadly explosion at the Baptist Al-Ali hospital in Gaza City, where thousands of Palestinians were sheltering from Israeli strikes. Palestinian officials accused Israel of bombing the hospital and killing 471 people, according to a Palestinian health ministry. The hospital blast has added fuel to rising anger in the region over Israel's actions in Gaza. More than a week of Israeli bombardment has killed at least 3,478 Palestinians and injured 12,500, according to Palestinian authorities. Israeli officials contend that the hospital was bombed by the Palestinian Islamic Jihad, a rival Islamist militant group to Hamas, and the explosion was caused when one of its rockets that was launched at Israel misfired. Biden arrived in Tel Aviv. Concerns are mounting over Israel's deprivation of food, fuel, and electricity to the 2.2 million people who are trapped in Gaza, which is basically an open-air prison. And then here's video footage and so forth. So who knows? Who knows who actually did it? The two sides are, of course, pointing at each other, saying the other ones did it. And we don't know what the truth is exactly. I mean, there's quite a bit of evidence to prove, apparently, that it was a stray rocket that landed and caused the damage. But if it was an accident, I'm sure the Palestinians would much rather blame Israel, and vice versa. If Israel bombed a hospital and meant to or didn't mean to, I'm sure they would rather blame the other side as well. So who knows what's true? It's probably somewhere in the middle there somewhere. But someone did it. And all those people are dead. So just amazing. But yeah, the propaganda has kicked into full gear. Now, I've seen this article or some version of it in a lot of different places, and I think it's important, although many of us already knew that the whole thing was fraud. But Tucker Carlson has been reporting on this lately. The whole George Floyd story was a lie. No kidding. Tucker Carlson just challenged one of the left's most sacred cows, George Floyd, an ex-con who died with an elephant dose of fentanyl in his system, which I've said for months and months and months at this point, and a history of health issues while in custody of Minneapolis police on May 25th, 2020. So it says, according to Carlson, we need to revisit certain popular narratives, including the circumstances surrounding Floyd's death, and in particular, inconsistencies between public perception that Floyd died under the knee of Officer Derek Chauvin, who is currently serving more than 40 years in state and federal sentences. Did, for example, a racist white cop actually murder a man called George Floyd, a civil rights leader in Minneapolis, on Memorial Day of 2020? Now, we've been told that happened, told it relentlessly for more than 3 years, Carlson says. But the question is, did he, Derek Chauvin, actually murder George Floyd? And the answer is, well, no, he didn't murder George Floyd. And we're not guessing about that. We know conclusively, thanks to a new court case now underway in Hennepin County, Minnesota. A lawsuit incidental to Floyd and Chauvin unveiled sworn deposition excerpts from a conversation with County Medical Examiner Andrew Baker, indicating that Floyd's passing was not due to asphyxiation or strangulation. Instead, factors include drug use and a fatal concentration of fentanyl were significant contributors, reframing his demise from the widely publicized, quote, murder to an inadvertent overdose. He OD'd. Yes, the guy barely had his knee on Floyd's neck, but he died because he had so much fentanyl in his system, not because of the knee on his neck. And The officer is serving 40 years. So, anyway, I know you guys know this, but it is coming out. So, good for Tucker for putting the truth out there. So, that's good. Let's see here. Next article I have pulled up is this bombshell arrest a key to why so many U.S. trains have derailed? I keep saying we were getting, for a while there, we were getting trains derailing almost every week or several in a week. And we go a week and not have any, and then we have another week and several more again would happen. Just a few months ago, the news was inundated with story after story of trains derailing here in the U.S. It got to the point where many started coming up with some pretty out there conspiracy theories to explain this constant string of train crashes, and a new arrest of a man in Ohio is only going to fan the flames of discussion. Earlier this month, the FBI arrested Joseph Finley, 43, on federal terrorist charges for allegedly jamming metal into tracks and rail lines in order to derail these trains. From Fox News, CSX train employees found metal materials jammed into the tracks and rail switches of an Ohio train line for months after a near-catastrophic derailment in August, according to court documents. During a test run for a CSX Employee Appreciation Day, a train hit an obstruction on the track and temporarily derailed before the wheels dropped back into place. This seemingly mysterious accident quickly became a concerning issue when employees continued to find more purposely placed materials along the tracks, which matched methods taught by international terrorist groups to make homemade derail devices, court documents say. The investigation led to a Cleveland man, Joseph Finley, 43, who was arrested and charged with terrorist attacks against railroad carriers. Finley lives with his parents, who cannot be reached by Fox News. His mother told Fox 8, though, that her son is not a terrorist. No, of course not. Anyway, so who knows? Maybe it's a lone wolf doing all this, but I kind of doubt it. But they could be copycat people who are getting the information from somewhere and figuring out how to do it. But I was always kind of amazed as I was reporting these stories, and there was never any follow-up, and no one was ever found to do it. I mean, the cause of derailments. Same way with all of the different factories and places like that that have been burned. That these, food processing plants and things like that had all burned. They had to have had cameras, and yet no one was ever found, or at least we never heard of any. There was no follow-up. No one was found. No one was arrested. It was just like they just move on. The food factory's gone, and we just move on. So kind of the same thing with these train derailments. I thought it was kind of interesting that they've at least pinned it on one guy here. Who knows if he's guilty, but it does sound very probable that someone like that, if it wasn't him, that was doing these sorts of things to derail the trains. Obama was on the scene when chef drowned, new police records show. How about that? New police records. I thought they covered it all up. Didn't you? Slay News is where this is. New records from the Massachusetts State Police have revealed that former President Barack Hussein Obama was on the scene when his personal chef drowned. I think he had some help on his Martha's Vineyard estate. The documents were obtained by D.C. watchdog group Judicial Watch. They announced receiving 40 pages of records from the state police. According to the nonprofit, the records, which are heavily redacted, indicate the presence of Obama for a witness interview. Police reportedly spoke with the ex-POTUS in the death investigation of the Obama's personal chef, Tafari Campbell. The records indicate Obama arrived at the emergency response scene via motorcade. A short time later, a cold, wet woman who was a witness arrived. Next morning, the eyewitness was interviewed in the Obama residence again, and Obama was present. The records also detail the existence of a Secret Service video of Campbell and his paddleboarding companion entering the water and the Secret Service emergency response in the immediate aftermath of the drowning. The state police records show they concluded no foul play in Campbell's accidental death. No, of course not. Which also explains why Barack Obama had his knuckles bandaged up and what appeared to be a black eye just a day or so afterwards. But I'm sure it was a coincidence. It always is, isn't it? Anyway, it is interesting, though, that they're at least putting him on the scene. So, yes, who knows? The current president, I should say, he is Biden, as you guys know. Daily Mail article, a new low for San Francisco. So check this out. Convicted pedophile, this is San Francisco. A convicted pedophile sets up a homeless camp outside of a school with a sign saying, free fentanyl for new users, and says it's not a joke. Adam Moore, 46, had set up an encampment across from Stella Maris Academy in San Francisco. The convicted pedophile had stationed signs outside the school that said free fentanyl for new users and meth for stolen items. On Friday, authorities arrested Moore for probation violation after he refused to comply with an order to move for creating a public nuisance. Well, it appears that they're trying to do something about it, but I mean, how crazy is that? These kids come out and see this guy peddling meth and stealing items and also free fentanyl. Wow. Yeah, just thought you'd like to see that. Here's his sign. Free fentanyl for new users. Here's the guy right here. So, yeah, he just wants to help the kids. I'm sure Hillary Clinton would be very proud of him. Just helping the kids get on fentanyl. There he is. Just your average, everyday, next-door neighbor who happens to be a meth head and a fentanyl user. So, yeah, there you go. Welcome to San Francisco. Okay, on Threadreader, I found this article. In the U.S., the percentage of total births to both non-Hispanic white parents fell to 39.8% in 2022, down from 40.8% in 2021. So it fell a whole percentage point. Some states, including Texas and California, recorded a percentage less than 25%, while others, like West Virginia and New Hampshire, recorded over 70%. So percent of total births to both non-Hispanic white parents in the U.S. Last year. To clarify even further, these births refer to births to both a non-Hispanic white mother and non-Hispanic white father. In other words, Caucasians. Important to highlight that births to both white parents, regardless of Hispanic origin, were 57.1% of total births. If you look at births simply by the race of the mother, then white mothers, regardless of Hispanic origin, had 73.8% of total births. So there's the chart. However, only 50.2% of the births were to non-Hispanic white women. Interesting. 79.3% of those 50% of births to non-Hispanic white women also had non-Hispanic white fathers, so a total of 39.8% of the total births were to both non-Hispanic white parents. Are you confused yet? Obviously, consideration of Hispanic origin changes these numbers quite a bit. For example, births to both white parents in California, regardless of Hispanic origin, are 55.9%. In Texas, it's 62%. So all this to say, apparently the replacement migration is working because births are way down, at least white births, which that's the whole goal, right? Guilt you into feeling terrible for your skin color and you can't have kids. And by the way, we're going to replace you with everyone coming in across the border illegally right now. Yeah. Anyway. Okay, Data for Progress. I found this article as well. Voters agree the U.S. should call for a ceasefire and de-escalation of violence in Gaza to prevent civilian deaths. A new Data for Progress poll fielded as part of our National Omnibus Survey for October 18 to 19 finds that 66% of voters strongly agree or somewhat agree with the following statement: the U.S. should call for a ceasefire and a de-escalation of violence in Gaza. The U.S. should leverage its close diplomatic relationship with Israel to prevent further violence and civilian deaths. So they want us to get with Israel and make sure there's no more deaths. Yeah, that's going to happen. This includes 80% of Democrats, 57% of independents, and 56% of Republicans. So they're saying we should de-escalate. And what are they doing over there? Are they de-escalating? No, they're getting ready to invade, as I just mentioned a few minutes ago. Anyway, I don't think it's going to happen, but at least it sounds like the people are responding, so that's good. That means they're not going to want to send their kids over there to fight and die. Anheuser-Busch resorts to bribing distributors in effort to keep Bud Light on the shelves. Anheuser-Busch's emergency relief program for beer distributors has been extended by the brewer to keep Bud Light on the store shelves after its disastrous woke advertising with trans TikToker Dylan Mulvaney earlier this year. Where did he go anyways? The move certainly looks like a bribe. The New York Post revealed while quoting a report from Beer Marketers Insights that Anheuser-Busch has offered as much as $150 million in relief to distributors since Mulvaney's Bud Light TikTok video on April 1st sparked nationwide boycotts. So I wonder how they're getting that money. Where'd that come from? Klaus? Did old Klaus Schwab write the check for that one? Some of the financial relief distributors have received are reimbursements for freight and fuel surcharges, as well as an additional week to pay bills to the brewer. Sounds like they're getting reparations. I imagine for those that are having some cash flow concerns, this would help somewhat, one distributor told the Post. Go woke, go broke. There it is. Bud Light is not selling, but all the other stuff is. Anyway, yep, there you go. I'm not a beer drinker. I don't know about you guys, but I don't know. I'm not sure if it's selling around here or not. It might be to some degree, but what's going on with beer in your neck of the woods? Is Bud Light even selling still? I don't know. I don't know if people are still not buying it or if they're back to sort of working it in again. Not sure. What the H happened to Joe Biden's chin in this video? I keep having people send me this craziness. I guess you guys have probably seen this by now. What is going on with Joe Biden's face? Fake President Biden appeared to grow a mushy butt chin. Well, I would call it something else. While making remarks to the press at Ramstein Air Base in Germany following his trip to Israel. So here's the full clip if you want to watch it. But instead, I think I want to show you this other video that I have. It's called Biden Debuts a New Chin. Let's just say that he might be a resident of another planet, and it's called a Balchinian. He might be a Balchinian. Here's the video. And watch for the Balchinian who is shown in this video. Yeah, I thought you guys would like that. The Balchinian. Although Biden isn't quite as well endowed as the guy that we saw on the screen there, obviously. But yeah, there must be something going on with his chin. Who knows? And I was in a conversation earlier tonight, just a little while ago, actually, with a friend of mine, and mentioned this video. This is from 2 years ago. This is something that I had made. It's on my Take It to the Lord in Prayer End Times Dates YouTube channel, and it's in other places as well. But I noticed that it doesn't look like the real Joe Biden. Personally, I think it's the guy on the left from 2008. Here, let me get out of the way. 2008, see? Which one's the real Joe Biden? 2021, 2023, that's obviously the same guy or somebody that looks a lot like that. But that is not the guy who was debating in the Sarah Palin debates in 2008. Doesn't look like the same guy. Look at the earlobes. We talked about this before. It's kind of a short video, but the comparisons are pretty stunning. And I think that, Kelly and some other folks in chat are saying, yeah, he has a plastic face or rubber mask or something, but I don't know if that's what's going on or if his face is literally melting off, but that's kind of what it looks like to me. So, yeah, very strange goings on around here. I definitely don't think it's the same guy, though, for sure. Whether or not he's an inhabitant or a member of the Balchinian race, I don't know, but it kind of looks that way to me. Anyway, well, let's keep on moving. We got lots of stuff to talk about yet, so just thought that was kind of interesting. I had a lot of people send me that video, so just wanted to bring it up. StopWorldControl.com. This is a website I came across. The Mystery of Israel Solved. This is a film, and they're encouraging you to download and share the video. I haven't seen the video, but it does sound interesting. It says this film exposes something so nefarious, so evil, so mind-blowing that many will find it hard to believe, yet it is true. The shocking secrets unveiled by this incredible documentary will shine a blazing light on those who have always been hiding behind the state of Israel. This film can deliver a fatal blow to the satanic elites who want to establish a world government to enslave all of humanity. It's called The Mystery of Israel. Download this video, and that's what this movie is about, though. It's about this kind of where all that stuff comes from. It's called The Mystery of Israel. So yeah, stopworldcontrol.com if you want to watch it. And we'll link to this and everything else that I talk about tonight in my Substack post tomorrow. So make sure you're on that list if you're not already. Totally free. No obligation. You won't hear from me very much. It'll just be like maybe 2 or 3 emails a week. And if you're not interested in that, you can still, I'll show you in just a minute how you can still get the links without even subscribing, which is totally fine. It's up to you guys. I just like being able to stay in touch with you all, so that's what that's about. That's why I have the Substack set up. News Wars article, World War III alert, China deploys 6 warships to the Middle East amid Israel conflict. Meanwhile, Pentagon deployed 2 carrier strike groups to the region, raising fears the 2 superpowers could become involved in a wider conflict. Yep, it is kind of looking that way. Communist China has dispatched 6 warships to the Middle East as tensions escalate in the region over Israel's conflict with Hamas. China has sent its 44th Naval Escort Task Force from the People's Liberation Army, PLA, Eastern Theater to the Shuwaik port in Kuwait on October 18th. So there's a video about it. So kind of interesting, huh? So yes, China is getting involved, apparently, sending warships over there. John Kerry, though, says we must sacrifice billions of humans to save planet Earth. This is on the People's Voice. And like I said last week, you first, John. Why don't you become the first volunteer to sacrifice yourself, and then we'll talk. President Biden's unelected climate czar, John Kerry, has declared that billions of human beings must be sacrificed in order to save planet Earth from imminent destruction. But, of course, he gets to fly around on jumbo jets and live up in the lavish lifestyle that he has so grown accustomed to. And it's all of us who are supposed to die, not him and his family, you see. That's how that works, he thinks. World War III alert, U.S. conducts nuclear test in Nevada hours after Russia revokes global test ban. Last time the U.S. conducted a nuclear test in Nevada was in 1992. The Biden regime conducted a high-explosive nuclear test in Nevada on Wednesday for the first time in over 30 years, hours after Russia revoked its ban on atomic weapons testing. Department of Energy, which oversees America's stockpile of over 5,000 nuclear weapons, claimed the test used chemicals and radioisotopes to validate new predictive explosion models to help detect atomic blasts in other countries. These experiments advance our efforts to develop new technology in support of U.S. nuclear proliferation goals. In other words, they forgot if their nuclear weapons are still working. They wanted to test one and just make sure it's still working in case they need it, because they think they do. Kind of gives you a sense of where this whole thing is headed, huh? U.S. nuclear test raises concerns of new arms race with Russia. There's no arms race. Russia is light years ahead of the United States. Light years. And they have far more nuclear weapons than we do. And they also have the Poseidon torpedo, which we do not have. And I think they're going to be forced to use it. And we've talked about that before. So without going into that, but here's a video of the September 1992 blast, I guess. But there's more info here on this particular article if you want to check it out. Newswars.com. I should have looked up on the USGS website to see if there were any earthquakes that day, because that's probably the cause of the earthquake in that area in Nevada. If there was one, most likely it was an underground explosion, I would think. But kind of interesting. I don't know. If it wasn't underground, either way, it probably still did cause a minor earthquake, I would think. Usually they do, and they do put that usually on the USGS site. It'll say if it's quarry blast or something like that. So my guess is it's on there, but I haven't looked. So if you all want to check it out, feel free to do that and let me know. Former Rep. Justin Amash reveals his Palestinian Christian relatives were killed in Israeli airstrike on Orthodox church compound. Former Congressman Justin Amash on Friday revealed that multiple members of his Palestinian Christian family were killed by Israel's deadly airstrike on St. Porphyrius Orthodox Church compound. So, wow. And there they are, really worried about this. With great sadness, I have now confirmed that several of my relatives, including Viola and Yara, pictured here, were killed at Orthodox Church in Gaza, where they had been sheltering, part of the complex that was destroyed. Man. So, yep, indiscriminate. And I would say that the IDF and members of the Zionist government in Israel are totally fine with killing Christians. They don't care. They don't care. They're all about that. Russia will pay the price. Israeli official Amir Whiteman, threatens Russia is next after Gaza. So now they're really getting full of themselves, aren't they? Now they're threatening Russia. Amir Whiteman of Israel's ruling Likud party threatened Russia that Israel will come after them once their war with Gaza is over for supporting Hamas Nazis who beheaded babies and raped women. The beheaded babies thing, I think, was all a scam, from what I heard. It wasn't true. Which, who knows? Maybe it was. But I don't think anyone ever presented any evidence. So here he is threatening the Russians, which I'm sure you guys don't really need to see that, but it is on here if you want to. InformationLiberation.com is where that is. And I found this video. I did watch it. Klaus Schwab signs an order. He signs an order. He's unelected. He signs an order drafting U.S. men and women to fight the globalists in World War III. To fight for the globalists in World War III. We need to fight the globalists. That would be World War III, wouldn't it? This is what an unelected leader looks like. Today, WEF's Klaus Schwab is meeting in Dubai with 600 experts, put that in quotes, on how to rule the world. He literally looks like a villain just released from a mental ward. Well, it's because he looks like his dad, and his dad was a Nazi, literally, and that's who they based the Blofeld character off of in the Bond series. That's why he looks like a Bond villain, because his dad literally was the model for the Bond character. See how that works? But anyway, yeah, he signed an order drafting U.S. men and women to fight in World War III. So thank you, Klaus. We'll make sure we follow through on that order. Gateway Pundit exclusive. Israeli surveillance drone video of the fully intact and undamaged hospital in Gaza after a rocket hits a parking lot, not the hospital. So there was something that hit somewhere, but yet there are all these dead bodies. So who knows exactly what happened? I think there's a lot of propaganda at work here. On Tuesday evening, a rocket reportedly hit the hospital in Gaza, causing a massive explosion, resulting in the deaths of allegedly several hundred Palestinians. Palestinians' Islamic Jihad terror group and Western media immediately blamed Israel for the explosion. And of course, Israel was blaming them. So who knows exactly what's going on? It says here, it now appears that the story was fake news. I don't know. Maybe. I'm not so quick to dismiss the fact that Israel may very well have done this, but we just don't know. That's the bottom line. We just don't know. We weren't there. But the Gateway Pundit is absurdly on the side of Israel in all of this, so I can't really completely trust that. And I hate saying that because I do like the Gateway Pundit's reporting on many things, but just know that there is only one side in the conflict, according to the Gateway Pundit, from what I gather. And that is, Israel is always right, and I am not on that side. I'm not on the Hamas and Palestinian side either. I'm on God's side. I don't think he wants either one of those groups of people killing each other. So anyway, let's keep moving. Ynet report, Israel asked the U.S. for $10 billion in aid. Sources privy to the details told the New York Times that Israel has asked the U.S. for $10 billion. Wow, what a money grab. They just went far and above what Zelensky and company were doing, huh? They asked for $10 billion just right off the bat. According to the report, White House is formulating a bill to provide aid to Israel, like they haven't been already, which will link it to the aid that the Biden administration is also seeking to provide to Ukraine. This fact may make it difficult to approve the package in the House, where Republicans have a majority and some express opposition to aid Kiev. However, according to the report, the proposal will also include the allocation of funds to fortify the southern border between the U.S. and Mexico, which means they're going to open it wider, a key demand voiced by Republicans. Yeah, so anyway, who knows? But they're going to try and send $10 billion to Israel on top of however many hundreds of millions they're sending to Ukraine to launder it and send it back to the Democrat Party. That's apparently how it works. Information Liberation Samson option. Mark Levin urges Israel to consider firing off entire nuclear arsenal if threatened. So another warmonger, meaning Mark Levin, if Israel is going to face annihilation, you think they have to use those nukes? You think they have those nukes in there to collect dust? ? No, he's ready to use nukes and destroy as many people as possible. Fox News host Mark Levin, so another warmonger, just like so many of them on Fox News. He went on an unhinged rant Sunday urging Israel to consider the Samson option. Israel's plan to fire off all their nukes and initiate a global nuclear holocaust if their existence is threatened. He's okay with that. Totally fine and totally normal. There's no talk of peace. Just fire the nukes and kill everyone. I vote we strap him to the first one that gets fired. What do you guys say? Yeah. All right. And then Gateway Pundit article. Again, this one, I don't know if you guys knew about this. I only found out about it fairly recently, within the last few days. Did you know Rainer Fulmick has been arrested? He's been seized by the German government in Mexico. Rainer Fulmick has been doing incredible work on the whole COVID nightmare. And of course, what are they going to do? They're going to throw him in prison. What else would they do? Leo Hohmann article here. International lawyer and freedom advocate Rainer Fulmick seized by the German government in Mexico. And it was originally published on Leo's Substack, which I have pulled up right here. International lawyer and freedom advocate Rainer Fulmick had been working on a project known as Second Nuremberg. See, this is why they had to throw him in prison. He wants to hold him accountable, so they throw him in prison. That's exactly what they do. They throw him in prison. To hold the originators of the COVID bioweapon plot accountable was seized over the weekend by German authorities in Mexico, where he and his wife had been staying. He was promptly flown to Germany and arrested. Fulmick had reportedly lost his passport and scheduled a visit to the German embassy in Tijuana. When he arrived, German authorities were waiting for him and whisked him onto a plane bound for Munich, where they then arrested him. He's reportedly now sitting in a jail in Frankfurt and probably going to be rotting there for a long time. The exact charges remain unclear as of this post, but please pray for Rainer and his family. The exact charges remain unclear because there probably aren't any, and there may never be. The fact is, he's going against the globalists. He wants to do Nuremberg 2.0. Therefore, he has to go to jail. Man. Here's an update, though. It says, when he entered the embassy on Friday, there were 6 men waiting to detain him. The charges his attorney, Dagmar Schoen, found out when she received the official papers were 30 pages long. So this was something carefully planned and executed. The charges are related to allegations of Viviane Fischer, a former team member of Fulmick's on the Corona Committee, who accused him of financial wrongdoing. Oh, of course. So he's doing something he's not supposed to be doing with money, according to this, which is probably a complete lie. 3 people reportedly signed the charges against Rainer. Well, they probably signed him at gunpoint. perhaps the craziest aspect of the charges is that the money Reiner allegedly took is in the bank account, or anyway was in the bank account of one of the three people. So he took this money, and yet the other people have it. So figure that one out. So Reiner Fulmick is under distress, and apparently they're going to Julian Assange him, is my guess. So we'll keep a sharp eye out on that one. And I've got several Tennessee articles. That's where I'm at. And Tennessee is in the news, not in a good way, on these next few articles. They all kind of caught my attention, so I just figured I would mention them. Manhunt continues for suspect in shooting of 2 Tennessee police officers. Suspect is estranged son of the Nashville police chief. Figure that one out. Manhunt continued for a suspect who is accused of shooting 2 Tennessee police officers. The incident happened on Saturday afternoon in Laverne outside a store while the officers were investigating a stolen vehicle report. Laverne is about 45-minute drive from where I'm at, probably. After a struggle, the suspect, John Drake, Jr., 38, took out his gun and shot the officers. The suspect is an estranged son of Police Chief John Drake of Metro Nashville Police. Both officers were taken to the hospital and are in stable condition. Well, that's good. One officer was released on Saturday and the other was kept overnight. So, very strange. The estranged son of a Nashville police chief. And then this one, Obama-appointed judge halts Tennessee city ordinance banning drag shows from public spaces. Chief U.S. District Court Judge Waverly Crenshaw, Jr., appointed by Barack Obama, has halted a Murfreesboro, Tennessee ordinance barring drag shows from taking place in public spaces. They only did that so that the drag shows would not be presented in front of kids. That's why they did it. But no, you can't do that. The judge's decision clears the way for drag shows at the Pride Festival in Murfreesboro next weekend. The decision comes that was pretty good timing. The decision comes after the ACLU of Tennessee filed a lawsuit on behalf of the Tennessee Equality Project and Borough Pride Festival. They call Murfreesboro the Borough. In 2022, conservatives pointed to the festival's drag show sexualizing children, but the organizers argued that the performer was fully clothed, so it makes it okay. We are relieved that the court has taken action to ensure that Murfreesboro's discriminatory ordinance will not be enforced during the Borough Pride Festival. So they're all for it, showing off in front of the little kids, clothed or not clothed, either way. So, anyway, very strange. Gender-bending teacher couple in Tennessee busted for prostitution in police sting. I think this is in one of those cases where the person that looks like a guy is actually a girl, and the person that looks like a girl is actually a guy. And they're total freakazoids. A pair of substitute teachers in Tennessee who are apparently some combination of LGBTQ++++++, the Skittles crowd, and in a relationship were just busted for prostitution. According to them, they need to do this in order to survive. Yep, it's okay if they do it. A trans and queer activist couple who are substitute teachers for a Tennessee school district were recently busted for prostitution in Tennessee after an undercover sting by police. Wow. 22 and 25 are their ages. Chattanooga. That's what this says. So, wow. Very strange. People are just really out there. And here's I think the last Tennessee story maybe. Tennessee man convicted of attempting to provide material support for ISIS. Isn't that nice? Benjamin Carpenter, 31, of Knoxville. So we've covered all the different cities here. We've got Chattanooga in the last one, Nashville in the first one. This is Knoxville. Benjamin Carpenter, a.k.a. Abu Hamza. He looks like Abu Hamza. Was convicted on October 19th following an 8-day trial. Department of Justice explained in a press release that Carpenter served as the leader of the publications, an international organization of pro-ISIS supporters dedicated to translating, producing, and distributing ISIS propaganda throughout the world. Isn't that lovely? Right here at home, except in Knoxville. but I'm sure there's probably people doing the same thing here where I'm at as well. Just proves that it's all right around us. You don't get away from it anywhere. This is a sad story. South Africa, young hero farmer shoots 2 attackers dead. 14-year-old boy shot dead protecting his mom in second incident. So there he is. Hero 14-year-old Jaden Liu was shot dead trying to protect his mom. That's a pretty cool guitar. Says, even as the New York Times called the Kill the Boer struggle song a metaphor, which of course it wasn't. The Boer is just the white farmer. There have been 68 farm attacks and 10 farm murders in South Africa since radical Marxist economic freedom fighters leader Julius Malema chanted "Kill the Boer" at the FNB Stadium in Johannesburg in front of 90,000 supporters in July. One attack was a couple was seriously assaulted while their attackers shouted "Kill the Boer, kill the farmer." In September, there were 14 farm attacks and 2 farm murders in South Africa. In August, there were 19 farm attacks and 4 farm murders. In July, there were 21 farm attacks and 4 farm murders. So it's just insane. So anyway, this little guy here in this article was attempting to protect his mom, and he was apparently shot dead. It says October 14th, 14-year-old was killed by 5 armed men as the brave young man tried to protect his mother. The 5 attackers arrived in a BMW X5 at their home on a small farm outside Bapsfontein, east of Johannesburg. Wow. So sad. I've been to South Africa. It's a beautiful place. I was not in Johannesburg, but man, so insane. Yeah, not too surprising though. Huge. Italy to ban fake lab-grown meat. So that's, I guess, good news. Do you like to eat real food? Are you tired of all this talk about fake lab-grown meat and this push by the elites to eat insects? For you to eat insects. Maybe Italy is the place for you. In Italy, they are now looking to ban the production and promotion of lab-grown meat in the country, which means that people can be much safer in knowing that their steak is actually real steak. Maybe for the moment, but they always find ways around this stuff. So we'll see. I don't know. So it looks like Italy's trying to do something. Says there is one problem. If the EU authorizes these fake foods, then Italy will be forced to allow the free movement of these products into the country. So the EU laws would take precedent over the Italian law. So look for that to happen, because that is exactly what Klaus Schwab and company will attempt to do, because they definitely want us to be eating the bugs and the fake meat. Which, I mean, you can go to McDonald's and get fake meat, right? That's the rumor. It's not real food. It's food with a PH. PHOOD. Man pretends to be a mannequin and goes on a shoplifting spree after the mall closes. I thought this sounded like a really bad episode of, like, I don't know, I Love Lucy or something. A man in Poland, his arrest has gone viral after he posed as a store mannequin and went on a shoplifting spree after the Warsaw Mall closed. They still have malls in Warsaw. Shopping malls. Wow, that's amazing. The unidentified 22-year-old stood motionless and was undetected by store staff as they closed for the evening. The 22-year-old, here he is right here. The 22-year-old with a bag in his hand froze motionless, pretending to be a mannequin in front of a shop window, police said in a translated statement. The man has been accused of posing as a mannequin in a Warsaw, Poland shop window to steal jewelry after closing time. If convicted, he could face 10 years in prison. Or he could move to Hollywood and get a job as an actor. He might do that. Anyway, I thought that was pretty crazy. That wasn't even on notthebee.com. That was on the Gateway Pundit. Speaking of notthebee.com, here's the one article I pulled up for tonight. Texas Church gets Millstone of the Month Award. We were talking about this last week, I remember. The Millstone of the Month Award for facilitating out-of-state trans surgeries for kids. Again, it's a church doing this. Well, this is savage. And no, it's not a new Babylon Bee award to go along with the Man of the Year. A non-profit group called U.S. Parents Involved for Education awarded the Millstone of the Month to Galileo Church in Fort Worth, Texas. Now, there are many affirming churches in the U.S. and Texas, so what did this particular church do to deserve such a dishonor? Well, here's the press release from this organization called U.S. Parents Involved in Education. The awards for October's Millstone of the Month went to the leadership and congregation of the Galileo Church in Fort Worth, Texas, for their blatant disregard of biblical principles and the welfare of confused children. The church recently launched a grant program to transport transgender children out of state to receive gender-altering procedures. The church's website states that their mission is to provide justice for LGBTQ plus humans and support the people who love them. In other words, pedophiles. The church is paying for kids to travel out of state to have sex change surgeries. Holy eternal judgment, Batman. Yep, so there is your Millstone of the Month award going to the Texas church. Isn't that nice? We are definitely in the end times, folks. House investigators reveal $200,000 direct payment to Joe Biden, but does it matter? Nope, because he has testicles for a chin. He can do that. This is on Summit.News. House Oversight Committee on Friday revealed a direct payment to Biden, which appears to have been laundered through his brother James. But again, it's okay if he does it. Imagine if Trump would have tried this. Would be wall-to-wall on every single channel, everywhere known to man. How terrible he is. Here's a copy of the check. Look at that. $200,000. Does it matter? Does anyone care that this money has gone directly to Joe Biden? Here's a copy of the check, written March 1st, 2018. You would think someone would care. Direct payment. Wow. Thought that was kind of important. Fan tells Dave Chappelle to shut up. Comedian blasts Israel, sparking walkout. Dave Chappelle sparked a walkout during a show in Boston after criticizing Israel's bombardment of Gaza and accused the U.S. of aiding in the slaughter of civilians. According to the Wall Street Journal, citing people in attendance, Chappelle's cell phone-free performance, I like that, cell phone-free performance was at the TD Garden Arena in downtown Boston. People said that Chappelle criticized Hamas for the October attack, but also denounced the Israeli government's bombing of Gaza, as well as U.S.'s support of the war effort. Here's the moment the brouhaha started between Chappelle and the audience members. So there's no video of it, apparently, because it was a cell phone-free event, which means nobody recorded it. But anyway, some people got their panties in a wad and decided to walk out on him because they didn't like what he was saying, because it was interpreted as being anti-Israel, I guess. So he's an anti-Semite officially because he said something that disagreed with the Israelis. Just like probably you are and probably I am. And ask me if I care. InfoWars, civilized world on knife's edge as deranged politicians call for global war. We saw Harrison Smith earlier in the Biden's chin testicles video. Harrison Smith breaks down the latest political developments, including the crisis in the Middle East and transhumanist agenda, the deep state's targeting of Biden's political opposition, and much more. So anyway, he lays out how elites in Washington, Europe, and the Middle East are belligerently walking the rest of the world into a global conflict, while waging fifth-generation information warfare on humanity to persuade them to go along with it. Yep, so there's one of the InfoWars articles. Here's another one. World War III alert. Pentagon puts troops on prepare to deploy orders amid attacks on U.S. and Middle East. Another carrier strike group and several missile defense systems also deployed to the Middle East, says Lord Vader, also known as Lloyd Austin. So that is not good news. And civilian killed after Israel again bombs Damascus and Aleppo international airports. So there they go again, bombing the airports, saying that they're attempting to prevent, any strikes in Israel. So they're taking a preemptive approach by bombing the airports in Damascus. Western media has been silent while Israel's military, without warning or provocation, mounts brazen acts of military aggression against Syrian civilian infrastructure. Early Sunday morning, Israeli fighter jets have again targeted Syria's 2 international airports of Aleppo and Damascus, and their third such attack from Israel in 10 days. I knew about 2 of them. I didn't know there were 3. Wow. So, yeah. Again, I guess I would quantify that again as, it's okay if they do it. Apparently, Israel can do no wrong, according to some. Okay, vaccineimpact.com. Christians continue to be murdered in Gaza. Netanyahu supported both Hamas and Al-Qaeda terrorists? ? Well, yeah. Is the Israeli-Palestinian war really a religious war or a war to control petroleum and gas in the Middle East? Yes, apparently there is a huge oil reserve right underneath Gaza. So you don't think that plays into the equation at all, do you? The Zionism cult, Christian churches of Satan. Kind of touched on that a little bit on the very first video we watched tonight. Zionism cult. Talking about the massive evangelical churches who just love everything Israel does, including killing babies in Gaza. Over 500 killed in attack on Christian hospital in Gaza. Florida governor supports genocide of Palestinians. Of course he does. Because again, Israel can do no wrong, apparently. So, and the rest of these articles on this page, we covered those last week, or mentioned them. So yeah, those are on vaccineimpact.com. Now, I thought we'd watch this. This is a fairly short video. I'll just stay on camera here. This is on Janie Duvall's channel. Thought I would give you guys a little bit of a... I guess sort of a King Charles update in a way. He's in this video. So let's just watch this. I'll stay on camera and let's just see what Janie Duvall has to say. It's a pretty interesting short video about a dream that she had involving King Charles's brother, which I thought was kind of strange. And she does too, apparently. So here it is.
I just had a dream a week and a half ago regarding the final invasion of Israel. Who is really behind this recent Hamas attack? And are we seeing Bible prophecy unfold before our eyes? The night of September 25th, I had a very vivid dream where I saw King Charles' brother. Now, in the natural, I didn't remember if King Charles even had a brother. And in the dream, there was a strong impression to keep a watch, keep an eye out for King Charles' brother. The next day I researched to see if King Charles had a brother, and then I realized, okay, yes, he had 2. He has Andrew, who isn't a working royal, and Prince Edward, the Duke of Edinburgh. When I saw a picture of Prince Edward, I was, oh my goodness, that's who I saw in the dream to keep an eye on. King Charles had conferred the Dukedom of Edinburgh upon Prince Edward earlier this year, 2023. Of course, I had heard of Prince Edward, but had no idea that he was King Charles' brother. It turned out the day that I had the dream, September 25th, Prince Edward arrived in Turkey, meeting with Turkey's President Erdogan. According to the Royal Central News, this is a rare meeting to have the British royal family meet with the Turkish president. I realize that the Lord is also zeroing in on watching Turkey and end-time prophecy. Now make sure you stick around because I'm going to explain the other half of the dream that I had later. The Turkish president hosted Prince Edward as the 2 countries were discussing ways to develop defense and trade relations. Remember the word defense. Defense is very important regarding Turkey and the end times. It makes me wonder, since King Charles is pro-Palestinian and so is President Erdogan. But originally, Turkey was the first predominant Muslim country to recognize the State of Israel and signed a free trade agreement with Israel. But this all changed with President Erdogan. In December 2017, when the United States recognized Jerusalem as Israel's capital, President Erdogan said that Israeli bloodshed has made Jerusalem a dungeon for Muslims and members of other religions. And with the United States' decision to recognize Jerusalem as Israel's capital, the United States has become partner in this bloodshed. He said Israel was a terrorist state and that Palestine has been under occupation since 1947. Now remember, the Bible said thousands of years ago that Jerusalem would become a stumbling block to the whole world in the last days, according to Zechariah 12:2, and that there would be an end-time invasion of Israel, with Turkey leading the way, according to Ezekiel 38, according to some scholars. A few years ago, Prince Edward's brother, King Charles, met with the Palestinian President Abbas. Here is what King Charles said.
Thank President Abbas for his very kind invitation to visit the occupied territories, Palestine. I've been looking forward to this opportunity for nearly 72 years. So it's taken a rather long time, really. It breaks my heart, therefore, that we should continue to see so much suffering and division. No one arriving in Bethlehem today could miss the signs of continued hardship and the situation you face. And I can only join you and all communities in your prayers for a just and lasting peace. We must pursue this cause with faith and determination, striving to heal the wounds which have caused such pain. It is my dearest wish that the future will bring freedom, justice, and equality to all Palestinians, enabling you to thrive and to prosper.
King Charles and Prince Edward are not the only royals that are pro-Palestinian. Prince William is also pro-Palestinian and was caught on camera saying to President Abbas that Palestine is a country. Watch.
And I'm very glad that our two countries work so closely together. My message tonight is that you have not been forgotten. It has been a very powerful experience to meet you and other Palestinians living in the West Bank and to hear your stories. The United Kingdom stands with you as we work together for a peaceful and prosperous future.
Prince Edward has definitely met with the Turkish president on behalf of King Charles and the royal family. According to TÜRDEF Global Defense News from September 17th, 2023, Turkey and the UK have been working to boost ties since Brexit. According to Bloomberg, this meeting with Prince Edward and President Erdogan is very significant since King Charles was coronated May of 2023. And regarding defense, Bloomberg also said, when defense cooperation is considered, the UK-based system provided development of support of Turkey's National Combat Aircraft Program. The UK aspires to assist in the Turkish aircraft's mass production phase. So the UK is helping Turkey's defense. King Charles and the president of Turkey are pro-Palestinian and they're against Israel. So how does this fulfill Bible prophecy? The rise of Turkey as a global power helps fulfill Ezekiel 38:39, where it predicted that Turkey would become one of the primary enemies of Israel in the last days. Many know about the Bible prophecy regarding the military invasion of Israel from Gog and the land of Magog. But recent Bible scholars believe that Magog was located in what is modern Turkey and not Russia, and that Gog is Turkey. This may explain why Turkey has recently become the primary enemy of Israel. Could this attack be brewing as Prince Edward is reinforcing Turkey's military defense? According to Ezekiel 38, Turkey will lead an invasion into Israel along with Iran, Sudan, and Libya. Now also, end-time prophecy talks about the days of Noah, which has many implications which I will be covering in upcoming videos. But it's interesting that Noah's Ark landed on Mount Ararat in Turkey. So the place of safety for God's people in the end times will become the enemy of God's people. Turkey is also significant because many scholars believe the throne of Satan is there since it's mentioned in the book of Revelation. Revelation 2:13, written to the church in Pergamos, Turkey, which is also a message to the compromising church, the church that we see today, it says, I know your works and where you dwell, where Satan's throne is. It seems there's a war between Satan's throne and Israel. So again, Prince Edward met with the president of Turkey in 2023. According to Bible teacher Nelson Walters, he said in 2021 that 2023 is significant. It's the 100th anniversary of the Lausanne Treaty of 1923, signed by Turkey and Britain and other countries. But the president of Turkey is pushing to end the 100-year treaty to recreate the Ottoman Empire, which would be the perfect time to recreate the throne of Satan in Turkey. The end of this treaty would give Turkey the same power they had during the Ottoman Empire and the leader of the Muslim countries, and make them a world superpower that would be in alliance with the UK, Prince Edward, and King Charles. And remember, Prince Edward met with the Turkish president to discuss ways to develop defense, helping them to become a superpower with the rise of King Charles and the UK. Now back to my dream. The first part is when I saw King Charles' brother, but then the dream switched where I saw severe flooding in Florida. Now I'm definitely praying against any disasters that would not harm any people, but it was very unusual floods. Now is this connected time-wise to the rise of Turkey and their invasion of Israel, described in Ezekiel 38? Or is the rise of Turkey connected to the enemy's plans of severe flooding in Florida? Please comment below on what the Lord has shown you regarding Turkey and Bible prophecy. Thank you so much for watching and subscribing and liking this video and sharing the video. Thank you too to those who've given generously to this channel.
Okay, so you get the idea, and yeah, that's again Janie Duvall, and I think she does a really good job. I try and watch her videos on her channel, and Tim Cohen is on her channel quite often, and they're talking about King Charles as the soon-to-be biblical Antichrist. So I do think it's important to, kind of keep this stuff in mind. And she said that she had this dream and was describing it in the video. I think it's important. I don't know how important, but, you guys can obviously take it for what it's worth. It does seem pretty interesting. I don't know what the flooding in Florida would be. Hard to say. It could be weather weapons somehow. Maybe Turkey's involved in that. Who knows? I mean, all the countries are involved in that. But yeah, the whole deal with Charles and his brother and everything that she mentioned was very interesting, I thought. And she brought up Gog and Magog, and I made a video on this. I think I mentioned this last week, which is End Times Dates, Part 12. And more specifically, if you go to about 45 minutes or so into the video, this is where I talked about Gog and Magog and what I believe will happen. And one of the things that's mentioned here is they're calling it the third view, and there's three different views that are presented, and I talk about it in this video that I made from August of 2021. It's been that long ago. But talking about how it appears, at least to me, that the Gog and Magog battle, Ezekiel 38:39, will happen at the same time as Battle of Armageddon, and not before. So I think we're a few years off on that. People are talking about it happening now with regard to Turkey, as what she was talking about, and then other people think that Gog is Russia, and I don't really know. I'm not really, I'm not real confident on either one. I mean, it's probably going to be one or the other. I don't know how important that is. To me, it's more about the timing. And yeah, it does appear that according to some biblical scholars, which I present this information in this particular video from Part 12, talks about how the Gog and Magog war will probably happen somewhere around the Battle of Armageddon, which is when Jesus returns. So the second coming. So kind of interesting, I think, and know that we'll link to this video as well as to Janie's video in the Substack post, but you can find it on my many of you are on my Take It to the Lord in Prayer End Times Dates YouTube channel now. So it's on there. It's Part 12, and the video is dated August 24th, 2021. So it's from a little while ago now. But anyway, yeah. So let's take a look at a couple more things, and then we can look at your guys' comments. The Geoengineering Watch Global Alert News from this week is called Control the Weather, Control the World. The existence of weather warfare isn't a conspiracy theory, it's a matter of historical record. Project Popeye in the Vietnam War is but one example. Yet, even now, the mere mention of the climate engineering subject triggers programmed knee-jerk reactions of denial in far too many. For decades, such operations have been used covertly to impact agricultural production in societies, available data indicates that these practices are now more widespread than ever before. How long do we have till the breaking point of total climate collapse? So, yeah, one thing I wanted to mention, though, was if you want a behind the scenes on this particular show, it doesn't happen every week, but I'll give you a little scoop on this. If you can't get enough of Global Alert News, which I know many people really love this show, it's audio-only podcast. You can watch the one that's embedded here on geoengineeringwatch.org. Totally fine. I think it's somewhere around. Well, here, let's take a look. See how long it is. Okay, it's about 56 minutes if you watch or listen to the full video here. Now, here is the little insider information that almost nobody will know except me, because I am working on the show directly with Dane, and we made an alternative version of this particular show. We made a version for radio that we ended up using most of, well, actually all of in its entirety for Rumble and BitChute, but we couldn't put the whole thing on YouTube. So the version you see on here on YouTube, this embedded video here, is only 56 minutes. If you go to Geoengineering Watch on either Rumble or BitChute, you will see that the final time here is 77 minutes, not 56 minutes. So he added a whole 20-some minute section at the front of the video that's located on the BitChute channel and also on the Rumble channel that can't be found anywhere else. It was also played on radio yesterday when it broadcast over the different radio stations that carry this show, which many of the people in this audience won't hear that. They will have heard the YouTube version, which you're getting shortchanged if you listen to the YouTube version this week, because again, it's only 56 minutes. The full version is on Dane's BitChute channel and Rumble channel. Feel free to go there and check it out. And it's 77 minutes instead, because it's got that extra chunk that we had to leave off on the YouTube version because there was just too much. It was too questionable as to whether or not YouTube would censor the video and give him a strike. So we just left it out. So that's why it's shorter on YouTube. Anyway, just thought I'd let you guys know that. So yeah, you can find Geoengineering Watch. Just do a search when you get to BitChute. Same thing on Rumble. It's the exact same program there. So feel free to take a look at that and check it out. Last note, I mentioned this on my Facebook page. Tom Horn has passed away. Very well-known, prolific end times events writer, and sad to see that he has passed away. It says, dear friends of Skywatch TV, Defender Publishing, and Whispering Ponies Ranch, as many of you know, on Friday, October 20th, Tom Horn entered into his eternal reward and into the arms of Jesus after a lifetime of ministry and service. Thomas Ray Horn was born February 28th, 1957 in El Mirage, Arizona. So, and then there's quite a bit of information about him here. So, sorry to see Mr. Horn pass away. I liked Tom. I only got to ever meet him one time when I was at one of Steve Quayle's conferences in Branson back in, I think it was 2018. It's been that long. And Tom had just put a new book out, and I had stood in line and waited to meet him, say hello to him, and Steve was sitting there at the table with him, so I got to talk to both of them for just a few minutes. And Steve I know fairly well. He and I and a bunch of other people did a trip to Peru, but I didn't really know Tom. But it was a pleasure to meet him that one time, and I'm sorry to hear that he had passed on. But yes, he is definitely getting his reward now. I think that's really good. I know he loved Jesus very much. So anyway, condolences to Mr. Horn's family. I know it's a tough one. Wow. All right, so what else we have to talk about? Anything else? I guess we could just look at the comments at this point. I think I've been through all of the articles, believe it or not. Let's take a look at your comments, and this is the Substack page. So I was going to mention that if you want to subscribe, you just go there and literally just type your email address in and hit subscribe. It's totally free. There is a mechanism here built in that if you want to donate, you're certainly welcome to do that, and I really, really appreciate it, as these shows obviously take a lot of time to put together and edit and upload and do everything that I do to produce them every week. So I definitely appreciate that, but don't feel obligated. Again, I'm funding this from working my normal job, which is actually in the music business, and we'll look at my website here in just a sec. But if you just click on no thanks, you'll get this page, and you can go in here and just click on any of these ones that say have the word links on it, and you'll get all of the links to that particular show. Just scroll down a little ways, and you'll see article links. And so this is all of the links from last week's show, for instance. So they're there. So feel free to take a look at that if you guys want to, and sign up on Substack. Again, no obligation, and this is my store. And I thought I would mention I got a couple of different items here. This is the Diamond Disc Audio, which is my music company. This is the 15-ounce mug there, which is good quality. I've had some good comments on that. Here's End Times Dates water bottle. And again, really good quality. I was really, not really surprised, I guess, but pleased with the quality of the product. So there's different, I know some folks have ordered some shirts and sweatshirts and hats and things like that. So thank you guys for doing that. They're all on this page, which is linked to in the upper right area of the screen. Shop.thediamond.report is where that is. So feel free to check that out and take a look at it. And definitely follow me on Twitter if you're on Twitter. Twitter X, as they call it. And yeah, I'm trying to build that platform a little bit. We're uploading videos and doing all kinds of fun stuff on Twitter at this point, doing some repostings of really good tweets from some really cool accounts that I've found and continue to find. So you can see the video playing here, which is my video from last week. I'm actually uploading it directly to Twitter so that it can be shared that way. However, the one that's on Twitter is actually the it's what I call the cut down version. It's the version that is also on YouTube. Anyway, yeah, so follow me on Twitter if you aren't already, and it's the Diamond RPRT. So the Diamond RPRT, the Diamond Report on Twitter X. Yeah, and then this is the End Times Days channel you guys are already on, and this is the Diamond Disc channel on Rumble, and BitChute, Brighteon, and ClickView. And then this is my music page. I pulled up the video production page today because I've added a couple new things here on this page. Now, this is what I do, 9 to 5, if you want to call it that. It's really more like 9 a.m. to 9 a.m. the next day. That's really my actual schedule. As I've said before, I have several full-time jobs. But I've got one new playlist embedded here on this page that's got Julie True's videos in it that I'm building out for her every week. I'm making some new videos, and just I won't play it just because I don't want to get a copyright issue going with it. But yeah, this is just one of the many videos. You can see the playlist here as it pops out, and all these videos. I'm adding about, I guess, 3 new ones every week for her, and she's got some amazing music. Again, I'm in the music business, and I know what I'm talking about. Her music is really, really good, and you don't hear much like it anywhere else. It's called soaking music. It's as in soaking in God's presence. So we've got a playlist here on my page on my website, and then some other videos and stuff as well. So just showcasing the video production aspect of what I do day to day. So anyway, that's what that is. And let's jump back over here and let's talk about the comments and stuff that you guys have left for me. So let's take a look and see what all you guys are saying. See how much conversing back and forth there's been. So yeah, I like to attempt to address everyone's questions or comments or concerns or whatever. So let me just vamp a minute while I read and talk at the same time here. Remember not too long ago when people thought you were a raving lunatic if you talked about how globalists wanted to take over the world and make us eat bugs? Yeah, I do remember that. Or talking about how the weather is engineered, and people would look at you cross-eyed like they had never heard that before in their entire lives. Now it's kind of like, oh, yep, you're right. That is happening. Of course, they don't actually do anything or talk about that to other people, but they acknowledge that what you're saying is true. So we've gotten that far. So not that many people are sharing the information. As far as geoengineering, at least, I can say this, that people do know that it's real. It's been proven, I think, over and over. And I don't really get people saying, oh, that's a conspiracy theory, it's not true. I don't really get that at all anymore. I don't know if you guys do. But with that particular issue, no. People say, yeah, 100% legit, and yet they won't bring it up and talk to their friends about that particular issue. That's what I've noticed. I don't know. We need to not get emotional and jump to conclusions. Sam says they're trying to herd us into certain echo chambers. Yeah, as far as this whole Israel-Gaza thing, that is absolutely going on. Yep. I pray for wisdom, discernment, and the ability to decipher all the information being thrown out at us. Yeah, that's really good. I mean, that's what we all need to be doing. So that's words of wisdom there, Sam. Question, do you believe that Christian Zionism will destroy what's left of this country? No, I don't think so. I think that it will certainly be a real issue, though, for the people who believe it. And that is mostly going to be evangelicals. However, I don't think that there are that many people who identify as Christians anymore. I mean, yes, in certain areas you do have that. But like if you go to LA, for instance, you would be hard pressed to find very many believers there for the most part. That's what I've noticed. LA, New York, most of the big cities, you might find a few here or there, but for the most part, Christian Zionism is going to be mostly limited, in my opinion, to the mega churches, which you'll find in places like in the South and in the Midwest and places like that. So, yeah, then you have lots of Israel support there, Christian Zionism support there. I don't think it will destroy what's left of the country, though. Not that particular thing, no. Interesting question. Do you think the Noahide laws will be enforced eventually? It does seem to be that way, yeah. From what I understand, I mean, I don't know how much time they will have to try and enforce that, but that could be part of the Antichrist system once he's fully in power, which he's not yet. So, yeah, that could be something that we see, at least to some degree. I don't think it will be a worldwide thing. We're seeing that, not necessarily the Noahide law aspect, but the Christians being martyred aspect. We're seeing that really ramp up in other parts of the world. So will they bring that to the United States? I think they will. And that could be how it works itself in. And that is through the Noahide laws in the United States. I don't know. Good question, though. It was Wile E. Coyote in his Acme Railroad track block. Yeah. William, that's a good point. Yeah, we were talking about the train derailments. Wile E. Coyote did it. No wonder. They can't catch him. That's hysterical. Biden's face is falling off. Reminds me of Michael Jackson's nose back in the day. Yeah, well, that's actually, I've got a Michael Jackson story, and that's kind of what I've noticed as well. Not his nose falling off, but you guys know I'm in the music business. I have been for a long time. So back in the early 90s, I was working at a recording studio there, and one of the studios, called Record One, was locked out by Michael Jackson, and he was there working on Dangerous. You might have heard of it, album. And I actually ran into him a bunch of times there, and he was super nice, really nice guy. But yeah, he would come in. He drove himself around, first of all, which is really unusual. He had they didn't have Escalades back then, but he had a big old SUV, and he drove himself. He would come into the studio, and he'd walk in, and he'd be all bandaged up. He had his nose all bandaged because he'd have, ongoing multiple plastic surgeries and stuff. And again, he was a really nice guy, but yeah, he would come in with band-aids all over his face and stuff. So pretty weird. But yeah, that was the Michael Jackson story that I remember. That was early 90s though. But yeah, again, he was actually a really nice guy. Watch that video, Mystery of Israel. It's awesome and eye-opening, Kathy says. Okay, well, good. That's a good recommendation of that video that I mentioned. I have not seen it yet. I only found out about it today, so I want to watch it too. The real Joe will fall down. He's so trippy in his turtleneck sweater. I know, he falls down all the time. Well, he falls up. He falls up whenever he's walking up a set of stairs. Do you think the year went faster than last year? Like time took a huge leap faster, Cowboy says. Yeah, I have a theory, and I think I've mentioned this or maybe talked about it with Anthony Patch before. Because he talks about strangelets and how CERN is creating these strangelets, which are super volatile and very heavy, apparently, and they go to the core of the Earth. And I think that these strangelets that CERN are creating, and there's another system like CERN that's also creating strangelets, and I can't think of the name of it right offhand. Anthony could tell you. But these strangelets that are falling to the center of the Earth are collecting there, and I think personally that it might be, to some degree, speeding up the spin of the Earth slightly, which means, looking at the old, what was it, Superman 1, where Superman flies around the Earth and it goes backwards, and it changes time and they rewind it. Well, maybe instead of Superman doing it, maybe if strangelets are falling to the core of the Earth, maybe somehow it's speeding up the spin of the Earth and speeding up time just slightly, so that it's just ever so slightly. We're still experiencing it as 24-hour days and 365-day years, but maybe somehow it's making the whole thing spin just a little faster. You know what I mean? Like it's all being activated just a little quicker than it was. Just a thought. I don't know. So, yeah, Julie True's music is lovely, Emily says. Yeah, I'm glad you like it. Yeah, I like her a lot, and I've known Julie for a long time. Amazing Julie True, Wash Over Us music on YouTube. You're amazing producer, Doug. Sam says, well, I'm glad you like it, and thank you very much. And I've been working with Julie for a long, long time. I would say really since her first album. I was working on it. I don't even know when that was. It's probably been 15 years or more. So thank you. Yes, appreciate that, Sam. She's got some really interesting music, and she's sort of developed her own, what you call genre, her own genre, and that is soaking music. It never existed before her music came out. No one was calling it that. Soaking in God's presence. Now, if you just do a search for soaking music, you'll come up with all sorts of artists. But she was the first one. They've been chemtrailing the crap out of us here, Cowboy says. Not just the skies, the defoliant and other stuff they're spraying on the farms. Yeah, they're doing that everywhere, I think. Yep. Question, do you believe this is Psalm 83 in the making, leading up to Isaiah 17, Ezekiel 38 and 9? Michael says. Is this a way to bring in a new peace agreement before the war started? I made a video before on how I don't think that there will be a peace agreement that starts the Great Tribulation. I don't think that that's going to happen. Or the tribulation, the 7 years, any of that stuff. I'm not really looking for a peace treaty. And Ezekiel 38 and 39, Gog and Magog, if that's what you mean, we kind of covered that a little bit earlier. I think that battle, when it happens, will happen at the Battle of Armageddon or around that same time. So when it'll be basically at the second coming. As far as Isaiah 17, Damascus being a ruinous heap, I don't know when that'll happen, but to me it seems like that could happen anytime. Yeah, so we'll have to wait and see. 871,000 people have moved out of California during the past year. Yes, I know, and Governor Newsom is the number one salesman for U-Haul. You guys heard that? He's U-Haul's number one salesman. So congratulations, Governor Newsom. He's forcing people and companies to leave in droves. But U-Haul really loves it. Yeah, everyone I know thinks time's going faster. Me too. Everybody I run into says, yeah, it seems like time's speeding up. I don't know how to explain it other than what I said earlier. Joel Skousen's books. Yep, Strategic Locations. Joel Skousen's a good guy. I've talked to him many times. He's been a guest on Lost Arts Radio a lot, so he's a neat guy. I don't agree with everything he says, that's for sure, but I do think he's the best one out there as far as the whole prepping movement and strategic relocation, and of course he literally wrote the book on that. But yeah, he's got some interesting stuff, that's for sure. Okay, well thanks you guys. I guess that was the end of the comments, but good stuff there. So I guess we could wrap it up. It's after midnight here, so it's getting kind of late. Hope you guys have a good week this week. We'll have to keep an eye on this Israel-Gaza thing. I do think it is coming. It's coming very soon, hard and fast, as they say. It may be this week. We'll see. I hope that doesn't happen. If it does, it will likely change the world forever. I think it'll be that bad, because as soon as they do that, Iran's going to step in, and things are going to go off the rails really quickly. So if you guys aren't prepared, definitely try and do your best to get prepared. But boy, we're running out of time to do any prepping type stuff. So anyway, but yeah, we'll do another broadcast. We'll be back here Sunday night next week, for sure, which would be the what is next? I guess it would be the 29th, next Sunday. So look for that. We're sticking with the 10 o'clock p.m. Central Time. So we'll do that again, and we'll see how it goes. If there's some big development that happens, I may do another broadcast like midweek. I may even do a broadcast during the day sometime. And if that kind of thing happens, if I have the time to do it, I will work it in during the day possibly. So daytime hours. I keep getting people asking me why these broadcasts are so late, and it's because of my crazy schedule. That's pretty much why. Because it tends to be East Coast people who say, why is the show so late? Because it's an hour later there, obviously, when I started. And West Coast people seem to love it. So I don't know what to tell you other than my crazy schedule, and I'm sorry, but I'll do what I can. And I may do an occasional show earlier here and there. And again, we'll be back here as soon as possible. Hope you guys have a great week. Love you all, and stay safe out there. And if you're not right with God, definitely get right with God, because I don't know how much time you guys have left. I don't know how much time any of us have left, but it seems to me like these things are coming hard and fast at us. And I do think that the proverbial snowball rolling down the hill is going to just keep going faster and faster and faster. So anyway, I hope you guys are well and have a good week. We will talk to you again very soon.